The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when a wannabe social media star claims to have been the sole survivor of a late-night attack, she declares herself #blessed. But when police launch their investigation, nothing seems to add up, leaving them to ask how the attack really went down in #real life. Maureen, the manager of a local outdoor clothing and activity store, arrives at work one morning to find the front door unlocked. Assuming the supervisor from the night before has failed to close properly, Maureen simply continues on with her morning routine until she discovers a horrific scene.
I need the police. And maybe an ambulance?
When they arrive, police search the store.
Please help me.
There, they discover the two 20-somethings who were scheduled to close the night before.
Please help me.
Emma is traumatized but alive. Her supervisor, Taylor, however, isn't so lucky.
On the surface, this looks to be a robbery gone wrong. Very, very wrong. You've got one girl who's alive but badly injured, and another who's dead, having been beaten almost beyond recognition. My experience in the FBI tells me that you don't generally see this level of violence with a robbery gone wrong. They generally stop when you're dead. So I'm thinking there's more to this than meets the eye.
Emma, a budding lifestyle blogger and social media influencer, gives her statement to police.
It was horrible. Poor Taylor. She was my bestie. We closed up the store like we always do. Okay. It was so great.
I know. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Mwah, mwah. Love you. Bye.
But then I realized I forgot my house keys and my wallet, so I called Taylor and asked her,
Do you mind coming back and letting me in to get them?
So Taylor came back.
Just as Taylor was unlocking the door, two men rushed out of the shadows, grabbing the women and forcing them inside.
You, around there!
What?
Get around there and open the register!
I can't. It's locked.
Stop lying to me!
No, we already deposited it. There's nothing in there.
Open it up or I'm gonna hit you!
You're not listening. There's nothing I can do. No. Oh, run! Oh. No. No. No.
Emma becomes emotional as she describes hearing Taylor being beaten to death in the next room before being dragged in there herself.
And then I saw her lying there dead.
Emma says the men began panicking when they realized Taylor was dead. Terrified she would be next, Emma took a chance and pleaded for the men to spare her life.
Then I begged them not to kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I couldn't tell who they were, so I swore I wasn't gonna tell anybody what happened. Don't kill me.
Just say anything, and we'll come back and kill you too. Come on, let's go.
Taylor!
I'm surprised that Emma was left alive. I mean, most of the time, criminals who are willing to beat and stab one young woman to death don't leave another alive to serve as an eyewitness to their crimes. Isn't that the reason they killed the other one? In fact, it's so unusual that Emma should be writing to the Pope because she just got her miracle.
As she finishes her tragic tale, Emma seems overcome by guilt.
If it weren't for me, Taylor would still be alive.
Detective Armstrong assures Emma that he'll do everything he can to bring Taylor's killers to justice.
Thank you.
The thing with victims like Emma, young, pretty, the whole bit, is that people see them as infallible. They can't lie or be mistaken. I mean, how could they when they look so innocent? But if there's one thing we should have learned by now in this age of social media, it's that the image and the truth don't always go hand in hand.
Emma soon discovers that surviving tragedy is a fast track to gaining followers. It only takes one post for her social media to go from recreational to aspirational. As Emma's harrowing attack goes viral, panic grips the town, and parents fear their children could be the assailant's next target.
Young people being randomly kidnapped or killed while their parents think they're safely at work, that's straight out of the Parents' Worst Nightmares handbook, which means one thing. There's going to be a lot of pressure to solve this case and solve it fast.
Detective Armstrong works around the clock, and his efforts soon pay off. Within a day, he finds two men dressed all in black on the store's security footage. Could these be the mystery assailants who attacked Emma and Taylor?
Emma's story of survival might be a social media sensation, but her story is anything but on fleek.
Armstrong.
Detective Armstrong tracks down the men from the security footage, but soon learns they simply cut through the strip mall's parking lot on their way to a party. With solid alibis for the remainder of the night, they're eliminated as suspects. When Detective Armstrong re-examines the crime scene, he discovers another issue. Emma said that there were two attackers, but there's only one pair of men's bloody footprints in the store, suggesting a single assailant.
There's a few reasons a victim's story may not check out. They may be traumatized so badly that they get details wrong. I've seen that. They may be so scared of their attackers that they lie to the police. Or they may lie to cover up something even worse.
As Detective Armstrong continues his investigation, he focuses his attention on single assailants who could have come into the store, and soon receives a flood of tips about one man,
Armstrong.
Sam. When Detective Armstrong looks into Sam's background, he finds a long rap sheet of petty crimes, as well as a history of being aggressive with women around town.
It's clear that Sam has no respect for law or women, and he hangs out at a local pool hall, which just happens to be down the street from the store Emma works at. And if that's not enough to raise a red flag, old Sam is often seen cutting across the strip mall parking lot en route to the pool hall. Yeah, that's enough to bring him in.
But when Detective Armstrong goes looking for Sam, he's not at his favorite hangout spot, but at the hospital, after getting into a fight a couple of nights before.
Sam, I'm Detective Armstrong. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
I guess.
The man he finds is nothing like who the tipsters described.
We've been thinking Sam could be a cold-blooded killer who overpowered two young, active women, brutally murdering one of them. But this guy, he doesn't look like he could even take me down. And look at me, I'm old, I'm retired.
Detective Armstrong shifts his focus, hoping to still get some information out of his visit.
I'm investigating a murder that took place at the strip mall on the 5th.
I was in the strip mall.
You were in the strip
I
mall.
cut through there in the evening.
You cut through there what time, Sam?
It was about 10, I guess.
The night of the murder, Sam cut through the mall parking lot after the time Emma claims the women were pushed into the store.
Now, did you see anything? Anything out of the ordinary?
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything.
I heard lots of screaming and yelling.
Sam says he could hear raised voices from people arguing in the store.
Sam, how many men's voices did you hear?
Detective Armstrong gets an answer he never expected.
No men. Women.
Sam claims there were just two women yelling that night. Well, that doesn't line up with Emma's report, but let's face it, Sam isn't the most reliable witness. So the question becomes, whose statement is accurate, Sam's or Emma's?
Hoping for clarity, Detective Armstrong turns to store manager Maureen, who immediately raises her own doubts about Emma's story.
I just want to ask you a few questions about Emma and Taylor's friendship.
Friends. Emma and Taylor were never that close.
Really?
Maureen says that not only were Emma and Taylor not besties,
Okay, bag check time.
but Taylor had just accused Emma of stealing from the store.
Okay, yours?
Oh,
Okay, oh,
oh, yeah, I bought that earlier.
really?
Well, the receipt is in the cash, and the cash is locked, so I'll be sure to show Maureen first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you. After you.
Taylor sent Emma home, telling her they'd discuss the issue again in the morning. Once she left, though, Taylor became increasingly convinced that Emma had stolen the tank top.
Hey, Maureen, it's Taylor. Listen, I don't want to have to do this, but
Taylor told me Emma had a swim scholarship at college and she lost it and she got kicked off the team when she was caught stealing.
Really?
Emma had been the star of her swim team, and her future looked set. But she was unable to stop stealing, and eventually was kicked out of school.
all right, I'll see you tomorrow.
There are two types of theft, normal theft and obsessive. Normal theft is deliberate and motivated. They want something, an item, or the cash they can get from selling it. Obsessive theft is more random. Most of the time, they don't even know why, but they can't stop themselves. This second kind of theft often points to larger issues.
That okay?
Emma could have paid for that top, but instead, she pulls a full-on Winona Ryder.
Emma had only just gotten her life back on track, developing an online presence and getting her job at the store. But now, a single tank top could derail her again. Detective Armstrong has concerns about Emma's story, and these only increase when he learns that Taylor's car has been found a block away from the store, with Emma's fingerprints and blood in it.
If it were just Emma's fingerprints and they were, say, on the passenger side, it would be easy to believe she got a ride home from work with Taylor one day. But her fingerprints and the blood were on the steering wheel. And that can only mean one thing. She was driving that car the night of the murder, and the perpetrators would never let her do that unless they're from the Dumb and Dumber school of kidnapping.
When Detective Armstrong confronts Emma,
Okay, Emma, I have a question for you. We found your DNA in Taylor's car from the night of the murder.
she immediately breaks down.
Oh my gosh. I totally forgot.
She tells Detective Armstrong that the men who attacked her had seen Taylor's car double parked in front of the store.
Someone's gonna notice the car outside, and we're gonna get busted. You, go move the car.
What?
Don't move the car.
And they said if I wasn't back in 10 minutes that they were gonna kill me.
Emma claims she did exactly as she was told, parking the car a block away, then returning straight to the store.
Say you're in a hostage situation. You're the hostage, and the perps holding you hand you your car keys and tell you to be back in 10 minutes. Don't do it. Run away. Get away. Get your ass in that car and call the police. Even if there are still people being held hostage, your best bet is calling the police and then doing what the police tell you to, not playing nice with your kidnappers and hoping they'll take pity on you and let you live. They're not nice.
And I'm so sorry. I forgot. I remember now. The trauma from the night.
Like memory issues, trauma can lead to amnesia as people's brains literally block out aspects of the event they can't deal with. So it's completely possible that Emma had temporary amnesia. We get that. But most victims of crime don't leave out only those parts that might incriminate them. That's not temporary amnesia, that's convenient amnesia, and you usually only see that with people who have something to hide.
Detective Armstrong isn't convinced by his eyewitness's latest story, so returns to the scene of Taylor's murder, hoping to get some new insight on the case. After a short search, he makes a monumental discovery, a knife that could be the murder weapon. He preps it to be sent out for DNA testing.
This case is all about he said, she said. So finding a potential murder weapon, one that could have DNA evidence on it, is just what we need to figure out who's telling the truth and who's using a rose-tinted filter on their story.
Detective Armstrong goes over the rest of the crime scene with a fine-tooth comb. And soon hits pay dirt. A bloody shoe from a brand sold at the store. When he checks his new discovery against the male footprints in the store, he finds a perfect match.
So not only were these mopes letting their hostages have yelling fights and sending a hostage out to move a car, but now one is taking off his shoes to put on new shoes, walking around in them for a little while and then leaving them at the murder scene. If it weren't for Taylor's very real dead body, I think I was being punked.
Police send the shoes out for testing, and when the results come back, they clear up a lot of questions.
The blood on the outside of the shoe is Taylor's, and the DNA on the inside is Emma's. That means Emma handled those shoes the night of the murder. And what does that tell us? It says that Emma not only killed her coworker, but then went to elaborate lengths to cover it up, even inventing fake assailants and playing the victim. The problem was that Emma assumed police would automatically buy into whatever she told them. And in doing so, she broke one of the criminal commandments. Thou shalt never underestimate the popo.
Detective Armstrong confronts Emma, who sticks to her story.
Detective, I swear I'm the victim here.
But this time, Detective Armstrong isn't buying it.
I know there were no men there that night. The story does not add up. Tell me what happened that night.
He pushes Emma for the truth. And finally, it comes tumbling out.
Got all the details.
I did what I had to do. I stole the shirt, and she was gonna rat me out.
And once the two women parted ways for the night, she had obsessed about how Taylor was going to get her fired the next day. Hoping to talk to Taylor before she could report the incident, Emma called her, claiming to have forgotten her wallet and house keys in the store.
Emma tells police she just wanted Taylor to come back so they could have a private conversation. But you know where else you can have a private conversation? On the phone. If you ask me, Emma might not have known she was going to kill Taylor when she called, but she'd already decided to do whatever was necessary to make this situation go away.
Hey.
Hey, thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
Taking the responsibilities of her job seriously, Taylor came right back to the store. She even offered to help look for the lost wallet and keys.
Where do you think you left them? It's behind here?
But Emma had other things on her mind.
No, I don't see anything.
If you say anything, my life will be ruined. Again. Please don't tell Maureen that I took the tank top.
Emma had her life fall apart once before because of stealing, and then just when she felt she'd gotten back on track, she saw everything about to slip away again. And that's when she went into self-preservation mode. And the problem with that is this. Even if people seem rational at first, when they get into self-preservation mode, anything can happen.
Emma, I'm really sorry. I already called Maureen.
Why would you do that?
I wasn't trying to get you in trouble. It's just...
Is your life so horrible that you had to ruin mine too?
Calm down.
Do not tell me to calm down.
I'm out of here. I have to go.
Taylor. Ah!
People who engage in obsessive theft are often really not concerned about how their actions impact others. They're addicted to the rush they get from breaking the law and getting away with it. Because of those things, we often see people who engage in obsessive theft escalate their criminal behavior over time. If you ask me, Emma was in a panic and a rage when she hit Taylor that first time. But once she got a taste of the violence, she found that the rush she got from that was even better than theft. And that's why she bludgeoned Taylor to death. She didn't want that moment to end. Emma may have done the crime, but she didn't want to do the time. So she moved Taylor's car to give herself a chance to cover her tracks. Then, realizing she couldn't, she decided to make new ones.
Knowing she couldn't get rid of the shoes that night, Emma hid them in the store, planning to come back for them later. Once the scene was set, Emma gave herself just enough injuries to make her story believable. Then settled in and waited to be found the following morning.
Please help me. Oh, no, it's not good. Okay. Help me. Please help me.
Emma was so desperate to hold on to her life and her online status that she was willing to literally bleed for it. That shows the same kind of extreme behavior and impulse control issues that I suspect led her to steal and then to kill.
Having heard her confession, Detective Armstrong charges Emma with first-degree murder.
Emma, you're under arrest.
Emma is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Emma apparently got confused between slay the day and slay your coworker. It's easy to do. And so in trying to save herself from being fired over stealing, she got herself locked up for murder. Talk about your epic fail.